Okay, so been a while, just work and things. So I wanted to have another go at doing the church, and this is what result I've got. This was with the DSLR as opposed to my GoPro rig. So I've got the D800E Nikon camera, which is quite old, but it's not bad. I mean, it's like 32 megapixel, 36 megapixel or something, and it's full frame. And this was with a 14mm lens, and it was just the one camera. So obviously I had a monopod, and it was above my head and had a remote, and I just took a photo northeast, southwest sort of thing, and then moved, and then kept doing that. So quite quick, not quite as quick as the 6 GoPros all gang together. I mean, there are other issues with the large, although it's got 3 more stops of dynamic range over the GoPro. That's how sensitive the sensor is. The GoPro 7, it's kind of a bit of a pain because you have the large sensor means suddenly focus is a bit more important, because on the GoPro the focus is set to infinity, and I got the old Claude. The main takeaway if you're doing Gaussian splats is to have a consistent, a fixed exposure across the entire scene that you're capturing, which might be tricky, and it is quite tricky in the church because we've got light places and dark places, and the only way I could get this is a top tip, is to expose so that you're just beneath the clipping of the brightest point of the stonework. So I basically pointed the camera and got my exposure for the windows, for the white stone, right? Just the brightest point, and then locked exposure there, and then took the photo. And then you think, oh, the photos are super dark everywhere else, right? And you might want to bump it up one stop on the bright side. But the thing about it is if once you clip the data on your image, you will lose. You'll just lose that data. So there's actually more data in the, albeit it's noisy, there's more data in the shadows. So what I did is went to Resolve, and with its new photo page, thank God I don't need to use Lightroom anymore. So dragged in all the Nikon files, the raw files, and then I went through and adjusted. I'll show you what it originally looked like looking at the dark. You see, this is all looking it's looking all fine, isn't it? Albeit it's not terribly sharp. Now this is the God, it was like this, right? And I thought, oh God, it's super underexposed. But you'll see there's just so much more what they call latitude or recoverable information in the shadows. When something's clipped, it's gone. There's nothing you can really do about it. But you can see we can actually get something that's quite useful, albeit it's obviously boosting the noise. It might. But I don't think noise is such an issue for photogrammetry and Gaussian splats as it is for just general, video work or whatever. So anyway, that's what I did. Did it with one, and then you can do this whole thing. This just took me a little while to figure out. You do shift select what you want, and then middle mouse button. Oh, you need to be in the color page to do that. So you'll do your grade, whether you do it on the photo page or color page, and it'll be, have a nice little colored up thing like that. So and then you select the range that you want to apply it to, and then you just go apply grade, and that'll apply it to all the selected photos, because you need to have the same. This is the thing, is it has to have the same grade across the entire photos, so you don't mess. So the exposure is constant, is the same exposure across all your photos. So if you do what you can only grade really one image, and then apply it to everything the same grade, and then that's what they call it's photometrically. The exposure is the same, and that works. That's got rid of the floaters. So that's my top tip. Is if you're getting floaters, it's because you've got your exposure is changing. And so my thing is, maybe I should go back to the GoPro rig now that I know the exposure is super. And it was Claude that told me this, right? Now that I know the exposure is super important. I mean that it's consistent. I mean it's kind of obvious, but it's not always achievable. Hold that thought. The other issue I'm having is sharpness. And because I was using a monopod, if we zoom in here, there's a slight amount of camera shake. You can probably just see it, right? So actually, the GoPro, although it's less stops of dynamic range, there seems to be more subtle. I mean, it's a different day and all the rest of it, but you can see things are sharp, right? So my sort of gut instinct is basically point all the GoPros and want the same thing, and lock all the exposure. This is in the actual meshed model using the DSLR, and you can see how I've got them, if it'll let me. I had to mesh for a sec. See how I've got I have it in a cross formation, but like an X, right? So when I'm walking down the aisles, you can see, if I put the mesh back on, you'll see that they're not, it's not quite north, south, east, west. It's more sort of southeast, northwest, all at sort of 45-degree angles. That seems to work the best. Again, it's sort of deliberating because you're getting the most parallax between the photos, right? Because otherwise, if you have them all pointing orthogonally along the cardinals, then you're getting loads of parallax left and right, but the thing that you're front and back, you're just getting further away or closer to, right? So that you're not getting as much parallax. So this is sort of the technique I've used. And you're still having issues with it, it's holes, and I thought this would be enough on the coverage. But it's kind of, as I say, swings and roundabouts, partly because of the actual output from the DSLR I'm not getting the same results. Maybe I would get better results if I actually had it on a tripod as opposed to monopod, but it's a lot of hassle because then I have to pan the tripod as opposed to put down the lights down with 6 GoPros and press the button and then just, move to it. It actually seems to be more convenient, and I don't know if there's much in it. I'm getting all what I'm getting is the sense that you just need to have your exposure locked. Something else I've learned recently, this thing called hyperfocal distance, which is basically if you've got your DSLR set to f8 or something, so stop right down. If you set it, you can actually look up for it changes with different lenses. So the more wide angle, it's closer in. So you have set it to like a meter, let's say, and then from that meter, because it's at f8, it should be the majority of the photo should be in deep focus as opposed to shallow focus. But I'm just not, Claude was saying it's a super important thing. I think it's important that your focus is locked, right? But I'm not so sure that it's important that it's with the larger sensor. I mean, it's as I say, swings and roundabouts. With the larger sensor, you've got this more shallow depth of field, and that's more of an issue. I think because obviously the GoPro sensors are tiny, but then they have less they're less sensitive to light. We're 3 stops less than Nikon camera, right? So that means I can't recover. If I expose and lock the exposure for the windows here, and then I point them the opposite into a dark corner of the thing, we might not be able to recover from the shadows like we can because I mean, you might be able to on the RAW. I have a look on the GoPro RAW, but there's just not as much latitude to mess about with. And this is sort of thing is like a church is a great project because you can keep going back there and trying different options, right? And it's the lighting situation is quite complex. I mean, this in some ways is better than other stuff let's just compare it with the other one that I did with the GoPro, and you see there's loads more floaters on the GoPro one than there is in this. This is a lot cleaner. So that's all to do with this locked exposure bit, this business, right? I mean, I know you want a definitive answer, and I mean, this is the sort of point of these experiments is that if I can just get the thing to work, is that you kind of. I guess everyone has their own sort of setup, but I know I can lock the exposure. I might do a test around the house just because it's not as far to go as the church. And but you can see there's a sort of where it's too bright. It's just this sort of weird smoky haze, which is floating splats. You can see these little floating splats, which could be flares as well. So make sure I've got those lenses clean on the GoPros. That's something else. So yeah, it's kind of, there seems to be more sort of luster, just because I guess just better dynamic range, more roll-offs are nicer on the on the DSLR, but the sharpness, coverage, we've got more cameras on the GoPro thing. It's I can't really decide. They both have their merits, but the main problem I'm having with the DSLR is it's getting tack sharp focus to the entire frame, which is not an issue on the GoPro, and slight camera shake because I'm on the end of a monopod, right? So I could put it on a tripod, and I do have a remote, but I was just sort of, as I say, reviewing the photos, just putting the photos side by side again. DSLR, GoPro, and you can kind of see that, and this is like 30, if you actually go to the same distance, is it 49 or whatever, 50. As you can see, the quality difference. Although this is higher resolution, it's a sort of worse. It's just the camera, well, it's the the camera shake because I'm on a monopod. I think a tripod thing would resolve a lot better, but it's just, as I say, I just had it on a big pole above my head, spun it around, took a photo, spun it another 90 degrees, took a photo. So, but yeah, it's tricky to decide. Yeah. I was just having to think, is there anything else I can talk about? I mean, the thing was the RAW. So to be able to recover the details, well, from the Nikon RAW files from where they were, if I can do something similar with the GoPros, then I can lock the exposure. I mean, this is the reason why I set the GoPros to auto exposure, because I knew that there's when we point it towards the sun or the windows, the exposure will be quite different than pointing it to a dark place, right? So, as I say, this is where it was before on the DSLR exposure. You see, it's super dark. But yeah, you can do quite a lot of, and you obviously got your histograms up there, and checking your. The main thing is when you're shooting is not to clip, right? That seems to be the thing. So if I point the GoPros at the windows or brightest part of the room, lock the exposure, and then go around and take the photo set, and then see if I can recover from the shadows, the RAW files. That's probably the optimal thing. But is a nicer highlight roll off on the DSLR. You definitely tell. And this is like I think it's almost a 10-year-old camera now. So it's really time for me to upgrade. But I'm still a little bit unsure whether to carry on with a Nikon with the. Yeah, or go Sony, because Sony's got obviously great dynamic range, right? So it's a sort of yeah, it's difficult to make up your mind. Yeah, okay, I think I'll stop the video there.